Many doctors are surprised by taxes in their first year after residency or fellowship training is finished, not necessarily because of the tax rates themselves, but because of how their income shows up after that transition period. I'm Josh Friedlander with Airascord, and one of the more common disconnects we see is that doctors who are used to thinking about their lives on an academic calendar ends up switching to a calendar year basis. Training runs from July to June. Each year follows a predictable rhythm, but the tax system doesn't work that way. It operates on a calendar year basis, January through December. And during your transition year, those two timelines will not line up. You may have several months of lower income during training, possibly a gap between roles, and then a much higher level of income once you begin practicing, all within the same calendar year. So, what looks like a high income year at the onset of this new chapter for you on paper is often a mix of very different income levels. And that creates a situation that's both confusing and, in some cases, useful from a planning standpoint. Because when income is uneven across a single year, certain decisions can have a different impact than they would in a more stable, fully employed, may I dare say, predictable year. But what often happens instead is that this goes unnoticed and not capitalized on. Withholdings may not be adjusted appropriately when income increases. Bonuses or new compensation structures are not accounted for. And the first tax bill at a higher income level feels a bit unexpected, not because it's incorrect per se, but because it wasn't anticipated. There's also a broader connection here. Taxes do not exist in isolation. They influence how much of your income you actually get to keep. That affects your cash flow, and your cash flow shapes decisions around spending, saving strategies, and even loan repayment options. So, if taxes aren't understood early on in this transition period, it can create a ripple effect across other planning areas. This is where many doctors feel that something is just off. Income is increased, but the financial picture doesn't feel as clear or as flexible, perhaps, as expected. In many cases, that's not an income issue, it's a timing and structure issue. Because once your income stabilizes into a full calendar year at a higher level, many of the planning opportunities start to narrow, which makes this transition year somewhat unique unto itself. Not because you need to take advantage of everything immediately, but because having awareness during this period can make your decisions more intentional. The goal here isn't to become an expert in tax planning. It's to understand how your income is showing up during this year and how that connects to the rest of your financial picture. This is one of several areas that tend to come up as you move from training into practice. And we've put together a series of videos that walk through these different decisions, things like student loans, contracts, income, of course, taxes, and how they begin to connect with one another. And we've also outlined these in a simple transition year planning checklist that brings many of these elements together. So if that would be helpful, you can find a link to it in the description below. And if you'd like to follow along as we continue releasing content around this transition year and the topics that are relevant, you're welcome to subscribe here as well.